Hey guys, welcome back to my Colourful Country Life. Today we are continuing with my background series, and this time we are going to create a soft watercolor background using the Sakura Koi Brush Pens. Now, I want to show you a really easy technique that you can use in your own coloring pages. So what we're going to do is scribble the color onto my paint palette first, then pick it up with a water brush, or you can use a normal paintbrush and some water if you don't like using your water brushes, and we're going to create a soft background. So if you've been wanting to try water-based media in your coloring books but haven't quite known where to start, I think this is going to be a really nice beginner-friendly technique for you. For today's background, we are heading back into Seasons by Hannah Carles on here. Now, one of the reasons I chose this book is because Hannah's hardback books do cope really well with water-based mediums. Of course, every coloring book is different though, so I would recommend testing the paper in your book before you introduce any water. Seasons is also the book we have been doing our other background series videos in as well. So we're going to continue in this book. So this is the page that I've chosen, and it has a small contained space around the illustration, and that makes it perfect for this style. So I do tend to like this technique for smaller backgrounds rather than lots of big negative spaces, which you can use it for that too, but I prefer it on the smaller backgrounds here. So my idea for today is to create a soft pink background that has kind of like a slightly vintage feel to it perhaps. Now, these are the Sakura Koi colouring brush pens here. I am using the 24 colour set today. They do come in a larger 48 colour set, as well as a few smaller sets, I believe, too. So each of the brush pens here, they've got both a colour name, with this one is burgundy, and the colour number, so number 22 burgundy, and that is what our tip looks like here. So that makes it nice and easy to identify which colours we are using. So the pens do contain a water-based dye ink, and they have that flexible nylon brush tip, so you can get both fine details and broader strokes as well. So just by changing the amount of pressure you use and like using the side rather than the tip and that sort of thing. Because they are water soluble, they're actually really versatile. So you can blend colors by actually touching the tips of the brush markers together. You can also blend them in a gradient by using a water brush, which I've done on my swatch chart. I'll show you that in a moment. You can scribble the color onto a palette like we're going to do today, and then use them pretty much like a watercolor paint, or simply color them directly on the page as they are. So they will work really nice for layering down a base layer before adding your colored pencil on top as well. Sakura also make a colorless blender pen, which I do not have, but that is handy if you're coloring directly onto the page and you want to blend your colors together to create a smoother gradient, and perhaps maybe you don't want to add pencils over the top, that kind of thing. But today we're going to be keeping things nice and simple and just use the brush pens with a water brush. So I have my swatch sheet here. One second. So, oops, oh, I just hit my head on my lamp. Okay, water-based markers. This is it here. So these are the Sakura Koi brush pens. This is the 24 set here. So while I was making the swatch sheet, I did also play around with blending a few of the colors together for the leaves and the flowers as well. So I tried a few different techniques here of blending them with water or coloring them direct on the page and then blending them after as well. I really like this blue combination too. I think I used purple and sky blue for that one. It looks really pretty together. And I like how smooth these brown leaves are looking as well. So the color range for the 24 set is pretty good. We do have a ton of different shades of blues here. And we've got some good greens and good browns, which I used to create our leaves up here as well. Now for today, I am thinking of using burgundy as my deepest color. Now I was tossing up between lilac and fuchsia. I think I'm going to use fuchsia today. Because we are using these more like watercolor paints, I'm choosing the colors more for their undertones rather than how dark they are on the page. So we can always make the color stronger or softer just by changing how much water we are using as well. So I may come back in with a little bit of lilac or even maybe some purple later on as well, kind of getting that sort of marble finish maybe, depending on how it's looking. So I'm going to try burgundy and fuchsia to start with, and I might add in lilac and purple perhaps. I do also plan to sprinkle some gold throughout as well for the final result. Let me move this back so we can see the page that we're going to be working on again. So I have already prepared my page with masking fluid so I don't accidentally get any colour on the main illustration with my water. Now, I do have a separate video all about using masking fluid if that is a technique you'd like to learn more about, and I will link that down in the description, but I have gone and masked that all out, and this is the masking fluid I've used here as well, and that is linked in the video description in my Amazon storefront actually. So my plan is to keep the background inside the circular frame, I think, see how it turns out. Originally, I did think about having it drip down. So I think I'm going to have, as this is the busiest area, I think this might be my darkest area and then come up lighter. And I don't plan to cover the entire circular area, like maybe only coming maybe like 2 inches in the darkest area and then sort of taper it off lighter as we come up the top. So probably even here, although I have masked it off, there probably won't actually be some color here. That's the plan in my head. Anyway, so let's get started and I will talk you through the process as we go. I'm going to be using the smooth side of my Caran d'Ache palette today. You can use any non-porous palette or surface for this. I've also got my Arteza water brush ready to go along with a microfiber cloth. The cloth is handy for taking excess water off the brush if you need to, or just cleaning the colour off the brush as you go along. So for the colours, I know I definitely want to use burgundy and fuchsia, but I've also pulled out lilac, purple and pale orange. I don't know yet whether I will use them, but I like having a few options sitting there ready just in case I decide the background needs another colour as it's developing and before it dries. So I'm starting by scribbling burgundy and fuchsia onto the palette. I'm actually making 2 sections for each colour. So the first section is just the brush pen straight onto the palette, and the second section I'm adding a couple of drops of water to. So that gives me a stronger version of the colour and then a diluted version as well. And doing this does help create a smoother gradient a little bit easier. So I'm starting with the burgundy because that's going to be my darkest colour. I'm picking it up from the undiluted section with my damp water brush and applying it where I want the deepest colour to sit. Now you will notice I am working fairly quickly here because these are water-based. I do want to keep the surface damp so the colours are blending into one another rather than drying with obvious edges. So rather than brushing the colour on in strokes, I'm using more of a dabbing motion. I'm also making sure the edge of the colour isn't a perfectly straight line as well. So those uneven edges help the colours blend together more naturally, and they also give the finished background a softer, more dappled look, which is exactly what I'm aiming for. Once I'm happy with the darkest area, I do go straight in with that diluted burgundy. Again, I'm overlapping into the darkest section while everything is still damp, just so the transition stays nice and soft and clean. Now I'm going to repeat that process the exact same way with the fuchsia. I'm overlapping the colours in a few places, trying not to let anything dry really before the next colour goes down. Now as I get towards the lightest part of the background, I am actually squeezing a little more water from my water brush onto the palette. So that dilutes the colour that's already on my brush even further. So instead of ending with a harsh edge with the colour actually gradually fades out into the white of the paper. Once I got to that point, I decided I also want to introduce a little bit of lilac as well. It's still a soft enough colour that it's not going to overpower the background. It kind of just adds another subtle tone, a little bit more interest. And this is where you can really have some fun experimenting. So you could add a pale yellow, a soft orange, or even a very light blue. And if you think about the colour wheel, Colours that sit close together will generally blend together really nicely. So they're a good place to start if you're not sure what colours to combine to create your backgrounds. So for example, a blue and a light sky blue background, that would make a beautiful sky scene in the background. You could also add in the really pale lilac and colours like that into your blue sky as well. Or you could try some soft greens for something a bit more botanical, for colouring behind foliage, that kind of thing. Once you understand the technique, you can really adapt it to suit whatever page and whatever background you're colouring. Once I was happy with the background colours, I did start peeling some of the masking fluid away from the bird, but then I realised I still wanted to add in some metallic details, so I decided it was probably safer to leave the masking fluid in place until the background was completely finished. So to add a little sparkle, I did use my gold Sakura jelly roll, and I'm making lots of dots in lots of different sizes, and then I'm gently patting them with my finger before moving on to the next. So I'm doing it as I go, and that does a couple of things. So it softens the edges so they don't look all like perfect circles, and it also gives you slightly different strengths of gold depending on how much ink transfers. It creates a much more natural look than having every dot exactly the same. So you can have some that are lighter, some that are darker, and of course all misshapen as well. And I am keeping most of these around the darker part of the background so they do stand out a little more. Then I go back in and add a few dots that I don't smudge at all. I leave them as they are, having a mixture of those sharp symmetrical dots, and then the softened dots gives the background a little bit more variety, a little bit of depth with those colours. It is really easy to get carried away with adding these little details. It happens to me often, but I do think less is more in this situation. You can also create a similar effect if you've got white or gold acrylic paint and do a splatter effect, or even a metallic watercolour if you have one as well. Now to finish everything off, I am using my white Sakura pen touch with the 1mm tip. Because the dots are a different size to the jelly roll, they're going to add another layer of interest there. I am gently tapping the white pen touch dots with my finger as well, just to soften them a little bit. And once everything has dried, I do go in and remove my masking fluid. That part is always really satisfying. You get to see that end result all at once. Now, I do quickly show you the back of the page as well, so you can see there is not any bleed through, and this whole background actually took me less than 10 minutes. I think it adds a really soft finish to the page without taking attention away from the main illustration. It's just like a nice, soft, gentle background. So I hope this gives you another fun background idea to try in your own colouring books, and if you do give it a go, I would love to see what you create. Alright, I've taken off the masking fluid now, and I think it looks really pretty. I was just showing you the back here so you can see nothing has bled through. It is a bit crinkly. Once the book is closed for a while, that should flatten out, or you can iron your pages. I do have a video on how to iron your pages to get them flat again after using water mediums. I will tag that up above here if you're interested. And let me lift it up and show you. And that is what we are looking like. I'm thinking of continuing with this kind of like dusty pink color, maybe a bit of teal or something like that as well. So we shall see. If I have this page completed before the video goes live, I will pop a picture of it up here. So thank you so much for watching. Take care, happy coloring, and bye for now.